gonna happen. 3 years from now, we're getting the full-on Avengers film once they've introduced every other character, and it's gonna be the thing.
No, I'm dying to see how they pull that off. I'm still not convinced how they will do it. I'm not saying it'll be bad. I just don't see Thor fucking around with Iron Man. But anyway, we have
You don't see Thor fucking around with Iron Man.
I
Did you ever read the Avengers?
No, I'm talking about in a live action movie. It's different in comics. To do it convincingly on the screen.
That's what the Avengers is going to be all about. That's the one that's going to break the mold, where it's going to say, see, you really can make a movie with all these comic book characters existing in the same place, and it can be awesome.
No, hey man, I'm all behind it 100%. I'm just saying I don't see how, but that's their job to show me. So anyway, I was telling you before we started, there's this whole thing with with Clint Eastwood and Spike Lee. And
oh yeah, I've been reading about it.
I never would have thought in a million years that there would be some sort of tussle with Clint Eastwood and Spike Lee. First of all,
Spike Lee is not, it's not exactly a bizarre phenomenon that he's called out some director on a race issue and that it started a tiff in the press.
My whole deal with Spike Lee, first of all, if I was Spike Lee, I'd shut the fuck up because Clint Eastwood could track his ass down and beat the shit out of him. I'm convinced of that.
He always picks fights with people who could beat the shit out of him. Look at what he did with Quentin Tarantino.
No, I think he could beat the shit out of Quentin Tarantino.
Dude, Quentin Tarantino is the guy who went and punched a producer in the mouth in a restaurant. He just saw him, walked up and clocked him because he said nasty things about him in a book.
I think Quentin Tarantino sized him up before he went over there.
Have you ever met Spike Lee?
Yes,
the guy's like 5 foot nothing.
No,
he's like ittle bitty.
I think he's wiry though. I think
he's wiry.
Exactly. I think you get him riled up enough. I think he could take Quentin Tarantino.
Now, granted, Clint Eastwood was a bad motherfucker back in the day. Now you can see veins through
I know. That's what I'm saying. You got to be tough to still be alive, looking like he does. I think he's dead. He just don't know it yet.
Well, Spike Lee.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kick your fucking black ass for your shit.
See, I don't think
don't you mess with a man like.
See, I don't even think he'd say black ass. See, here's my whole deal with Spike Lee.
Why don't you set up the situation?
No, I am. That's what I'm going to say. No, it's Spike Lee. He was upset with Clint Eastwood for not featuring any black soldiers in Flags of Our Fathers. Now, what's confusing me is that this is a movie that came out a couple of years ago. And second of all, if you look at Clint Eastwood does not come across as anybody who is racist at all. And the reason why Clint Eastwood defended himself is because he said, I made Bird. That's the story of Charlie Parker.
Yeah.
And so Spike Lee was kind of upset about that. He's like, well, your white man's making Bird. And I'm like, look, obviously Clint Eastwood is a fan of Charlie Parker. He loves jazz.
He's been a jazz fan forever.
Forever. So he goes off.
Have you ever seen Bird?
Yeah, no, I have seen Bird. It's okay. It's not great. It's an all right movie. But Clint Eastwood did put his heart into it. So I don't think Clint Eastwood.
He made a star out of a little
Forrest
guy
Whitaker.
named Forrest Whitaker.
Exactly. And I don't think. Yeah, he made a star at Forrest Whitaker. Now, I don't think Clint Eastwood was thinking, I'm gonna make this movie before a black man can. I will blame Hollywood. The only way I would, if Spike Lee wants to point his aggression at somebody, point it at Hollywood for probably giving a white man a chance to make a movie before they would a black person. I think at the time Spike Lee was coming up, when that movie was made, it is harder for, I think, black directors to get certain projects done because
back in the 80s, it was impossible. But there was guys like Spike Lee were breaking the mold and changing things.
Yeah, but I will say, I'm just saying that at that time, I don't think you should go off and blame Clint Eastwood. You should go off and blame the studio system, which even today it's hard to get certain black movies made.
Now, frankly, I've also got to kind of chime in here and say, you know what? It doesn't matter whether a white guy or a black guy directed it. Yeah, it's a story about, black characters. It's directed. What's key is that it's directed by a person in love with the source material.
Yeah,
which is what it was. Who cares if the director was white or black? It was a director who was telling a great story. And was doing it out of love.
I think you can bring up an issue of color when it comes to certain movies about certain subjects. Charlie Parker, no, I don't think you should raise hell about that. Malcolm X, yeah, I think that's a story that probably should have been made by a black person.
I think it doesn't matter as long as you do the subject justice.
I think there's too much history of movies being made by white people where you actually have this chance to give some employment to a black director, a black cast, and yeah, that source material is way too personal to give to a white director. I think it should be given to a black director.
I think that's one of the most racist things you've ever said.
It's not racist
It's
at all.
absolutely.
No.
You're saying that it should be done by a chance should be given to somebody of color simply because they're of color, not over somebody who has a love of the material.
Can a white, it would be racist if I said a white person is too dumb to direct Malcolm X. No, hold on.
No.
Let me finish. What I'm saying is that it should be taken, it would be inconsiderate not to consider a black person to direct that movie.
You have seen a white person direct a black movie that pissed you off.
Which one was that?
Hustle and Flow.
Yeah, that did kind of piss me off.
That was like, if you ever out there, if you ever run into Corey and you want to see him like just get hollering, screaming mad about this issue, bring up Hustle and Flow and Soul Plane and watch him lose his goddamn mind.
So, I won't even get upset about that because I think a lot of people will agree with me. I would, no,
Dude,
here's
you
the
talked for 6 weeks straight about how much you hated Soul Plane.
Oh, no. Soul Flame? Soul Flame. I'm flaming man. No, Soul Plane, now that's a fucking movie where I will attack black people on because black people are ignorant when it comes to that shit. And I'll tell you.
Soul Plane was funny. What are you talking about?
Yeah, see, and then you one of those people. Now, see,
I love that look you gave me like you.
It's funny because, no, I know you're joking because I'm looking at you like that because a point came to mind. Soul Plane is universal. It's colorblind and it's ignorance.
It is universally bad.
But black people, I hold them more accountable than anybody because I've talked to so many black people that have been like, man, I'm moving funny. You fucking asshole. You son of a bitch. But I won't get so upset about Hustle and Flow. I think
you were pissed for a while.
No, because I really wasn't pissed. I was more pissed about Black Snake Moan. But Hustle and Flow, Hustle and Flow.
You didn't like Black Snake Moan?
Actually, listen to what I'm telling you right now. Hustle and Flow,
right.
I actually looked at and I said, man, you know something? I think it's unfortunate that we have to put another image, and especially such a well-directed movie, such a good movie out there, where it centers on a black person as a pimp. I'm sorry. I just that kind of made me feel sad. But I don't get too upset about Hustle and Flow because I look at that and I said, man, this is such a well-directed movie and such a well-written movie. I have nothing but praise for that guy who directed it. I will just criticize the subject matter. That's all.
Craig Brewer, I think his name is.
Craig Brewer, yeah. But that guy is an extremely talented guy. And again, a white director who directed a black movie. That movie itself, I don't criticize him for choosing to direct. Okay, I don't criticize white people for directing black movies. I think that's where I would be going overboard. I'm just saying very historical figures, something like Malcolm X. And keep in mind, I said it should be considered. I didn't say they should not absolutely, undeniably do it. I just said I think it's kind of callous to not consider a black person to do it because, unlike a lot of people say, you absolutely are off limits to Malcolm X. I'm saying, hey, if you can direct a movie, that's a skill. It's not like a law saying you can't direct it. You're probably a great director to do it. Now, I just think you should be considered.
Bringing this back to the people who are really bored by the social commentary. Don't worry, there's a dick joke coming up here shortly.
Is it? Let me hear it.
What movie does Spike Lee have coming out that he's fucking promoting that he's got to fucking attack?
That's what I was talking to John Pearson the other day, and him and I were talking about how Spike Lee was promoting something. What is the movie? Because he said that he was at Cannes or something. He said he just went nuts on Clint Eastwood because he has a movie coming out. Does he have something coming out?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. I haven't been paying. I'm not on the Spike Lee chat board, so
yeah, neither am I.
The thing is Spike Lee's a really great director who just kind of got focused on a source material and just kind of petered out there.
Can I tell you something about Spike Lee? And again,
you can't tell me anything.
Okay, no, because
there's nothing you can still tell me about Spike Lee. I know it all.
Spike Lee is black, so he is the best director in the world. No, I would tell you this much about Spike Lee, and again, it's going to take away from me seeming very racial about this, and I'm very biased. I don't think Spike Lee is that good of a writer. I think Spike Lee is a great director, but I don't think he should be criticized.
He's like Robert Rodriguez that way.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he should be
criticized. I would never say that about a white writer director.
I will. I would tell you. I think Clint Eastwood's a far better writer and director as far as he didn't write a lot of his movies. Clint Eastwood,
because he's smart. He knows he's a director. Not
a
writer.
Exactly. So I shouldn't say it, but a lot of the things that Spike Lee has written, I've been like, man, fuck this. He doesn't know what he's. I can't get into this. I mean, some of his best movies that people have given praise to, and even something like Do the Right Thing, where people say, well, he wrote that. You know what happened in that movie? He wanted to make Danny Aiello a complete racist, just a guy who hated black people. And Danny Aiello was the one that came up to him and said, what's the deal with me being an Italian white guy selling pizza in a black neighborhood if I hate black people so much? Don't you think I would have love for certain customers around here? So even on that movie, Spike Lee had to come in and get help with it. So I don't think Spike Lee should be criticizing Clint Eastwood. I think, if anything, he should be praising Clint Eastwood for his body of work.
Yeah, and especially someone who in the 80s wanted to do a film that was populated almost entirely with black actors during a time at which you didn't do that.
Yeah.
Unless it was, a crime movie or Action Jackson.
Exactly.
Because it came out the same year as Action Jackson, for Christ's sake.
Did it? So I don't even remember that.
And so, it's... No, it was a really good movie. It wasn't one of his best by far. He hadn't quite gotten his groove yet. But
if I was Clint Eastwood, I'd just track down Spike Lee and choke the shit out that motherfucker.
Dude, he doesn't even have to. I mean, he really kind of nailed. I heard that tonight Spike Lee had like a comeback in round 3 coming up. I don't know what the deal is, but the thing is Clint Eastwood said what he had to say. He said, I don't know what his problem is. I directed Bird, and leave
it alone.
I clearly have no problem with putting black people in the movies when they belong historically. Historically, black men didn't raise the flag. What, I was supposed to change history to make it politically correct? It reminded me of that great scene in The Ultimates, issue 2.
You had to bring this back to some superhero shit.
I did, because that's our audience. No, there's this great scene. There's this great scene where Captain America wakes up from being frozen, and there's Nick Fury standing over him. He says, "I'm General Nick Fury, and we've just pulled you out the Atlantic." And then Captain America kicks everyone's ass.
Yeah, I remember
that.
Yeah,
nice try, Kraut, because I happen to know the highest-ranking black man in the military, and he's a lieutenant.
Yeah, no, I remember that. No,
it's such a great, because it really does set you in the mindset of who that Captain America is. He comes from a time when there were no black generals. When when a black general would freak a guy out, and he would think it was bullshit because you don't do that.
Exactly. No,
and so of course, there were no, there's no black people in that movie. Although there's a Native American in the movie because they did have a wind talker with them. So.
Yeah, no, I remember that. Yeah, no, I mean, and Flags of Our Fathers wasn't even that great of a movie, but
the Sands of Iwo Jima.
That was
a great movie.
That was one of the best. That was like my favorite movie that year.
He directed a movie with the Japanese that was subtitled. Fucking incredible. He directs
a movie That's
with
a good point, man.
And it's lame.
That's a good point. He went off and directed a movie about Japanese.
Yeah.
And it was subtitled all in Japanese. That fucking guy is a genius, man. And you know what? They should just leave that shit alone, because
his white movie was lame. His Asian movie rocked hard.
Go figure, man. But Clint Eastwood should just drop this shit, not even answer back, because I hate to see these guys be in the middle of this, because they are both great directors. Regardless of what I say about Spike Lee's writing, that guy directs great documentaries. He's a fucking genius too, as far as being a promoter. Yeah. And they're both great, legendary directors.
I have a funny Spike Lee story.
Oh, did he? Does it involve slipping into a sleeping bag with him after making s'mores?
No. But it involves a friend of mine who's a filmmaker who grew up, idolizing Spike Lee. And this is a white guy, but Spike Lee was the guy who inspired him to make films. And he just loved Spike Lee and loved him. And became good friends with his little brother, Sankey, who you might recognize. He was in Mystery Train, and he's an actor. And
what, are you talking about Spike Lee's brother? Yeah.
Spike Lee's brother. And he wrote Crooklyn with his sister. Now, he became friends with him, and one night, they're in New York City. They're hanging out. They've been drinking, and Sankey's like, dude, let's just go to my brother's house and crash. He's like, okay, fine. Doesn't even dawn on him that when he says we're going to my brother's house, he's talking about we're going to Spike Lee's house to crash and wear off this drinking. And Spike's like really cool, and that's how he meets Spike. He's half drunk, and he's like, holy shit, I'm fucking in Spike Lee's house. He's like, oh yeah, no, you can sleep up in the mic room. Now the mic room is Spike Lee's shrine to Michael Jordan.
Oh, of course.
Which was a room he had in his house that was filled with Michael Jordan shit. And this was the moment that completely deflated him of the hero worship of Spike Lee, because he realized that Spike Lee looked at Michael Jordan the same way he looked at Spike Lee.
Well, keep in mind, Spike Lee loves basketball. He
Oh,
loves
yeah.
the Knicks and loves, but he also, as admittedly said, there's certain directors that he loves. Woody Allen being one of them.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, everybody idolizes somebody.
But it was just really funny because here's this guy who's sleeping in his hero's house, in his hero's house's hero room.
Yeah.
And it just was this moment of dawning on him, like, he's just a guy just like me. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, he seems that way. I've seen Spike Lee talk about 3 times. I even went to a party where Spike Lee was there, and it was the most embarrassing thing. Let's see if I can tell the story real quick. It was my friend Albert who just died. I go up and
You always got to bum us out.
I know, man. I know to Albert, but
Albert.
I go up, and Albert's girlfriend at the time, she tells me we're going to see Spike Lee speak at UT, and she says, "Oh, Corey, I'm glad I saw you because there's this movie that this woman wants you to be in." I'm like, "What woman?" She's like, "You met her before." I was like, "I don't remember this woman you're talking about." And she's like, "Oh, look, there's this movie that she has. She has Stevie Wonder doing music. Will Smith is going to be in the movie. We'll talk about it after the lecture." And I said, "Oh, okay, whatever." So we go to listen to Spike Lee, sitting there. Spike Lee's talking and whatnot. He takes a Q&A session, and he's being real cool about it. There's certain people that he likes, he invites to this party. So this woman gets up and she says, and she's a Ethiopian woman, and she's like, and I can't really do the accent, but she gets up and she's like, "I just wanted to let you know that I respect you, and they're doing a movie about my life, and you are the inspiration for this movie." And Spike Lee's like, "Why are they doing a movie about your life?" She says, "Because I have suffered hard coming here to America and being a Ethiopian American." And he's like, "Well, this sounds pretty cool. Fuck, yeah, let her come to the party. We'll talk about this more." And so after the lecture, I'll go up to Albert's girlfriend, and I was like, "Wow, that was really cool. So this movie, what were you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be so cool. You didn't hear them talking about it?" I'm like, "Who?" It's like the Ethiopian woman. She's the one that got up and talked to Spike Lee, and that's the movie being made." I'm like, that movie? Really? That sounds really cool. And she wants me to be in her movie? Who's directing this movie? This is great. This is incredible. And she looks at Albert and says, "Albert?" I'm just like, fuck, man. I'm like, okay. So we go to the party. I get there late.
So how is Will Smith going to be?
There was some woman came and talked to them. Some woman who claimed, as a matter of fact, this woman dissed shit at Access. She claimed to have connection with an agency that represented Will Smith and Stevie Wonder, and they could get it. Yeah, and I go up to the party. The moment I walk, Albert's girlfriend saying, "Oh, he's with us. Come on in." I walk to the door. Last thing I see is this Ethiopian woman talking to Spike Lee. Spike Lee's like, "You know what? Just send my people a script." And she's like, "But wait, send my people a script. I can't talk to you anymore." I'm just like, fuck.
And you were that guy with her.
Fortunately, they didn't see me. As I walked up right as he was walking off, and I was just like, fuck, okay, I'm leaving this party. But anyway, man.
After I get as many free drinks as I can.
No, I didn't even do that. I was too embarrassed. At the time, I didn't even
You
drink.
were too embarrassed for free drinks?
You know
Holy
what?
crap, that's embarrassing.
At the time, I was probably about 23, 24, and I didn't drink at the time. So,
so this was like 20 years ago.
try 30. So anyway,
This is when Spike Lee was still a college student.
Yeah, I'm 60 now. So, well, man, this was a good discussion with you. I like having these kind of discussions with you. It's interesting. It ain't this old shit we sit down and just shoot the breeze. I mean, we get into some shit here. And that's what I like.
Got into some shit. We were in the shit together.
Yeah, in the trenches.
We were numb.
Well, technically, I could be, according to how old you're saying I am.
Yeah, that was 30 years ago. Numb.
I don't, and people, you don't know, you know,
There he was, in the jungle.
A lot of people, they see us from the waist down, but I'm missing a leg from Nam. So, anyway, let's go ahead and get into a couple of emails here.
If we have to.
Okay, we got some good ones this year.
I hope so. This year.
This year.
Okay, no more beer for you, my friend. The beer is cut off. I don't think we have beer left, actually.
Actually, we finished a 6-pack. There is no beer left.
That pretty much happens.
So
he says, yeah, you've got the last beer. I'm done.
Jesus Christ, man. I'm so sorry here. I think I keep forgetting to put the names down. Dude, tell me your name and I'll read it next week. But this question comes from one of our spillers who says, Spilios. But see, I don't know which one it is. People say spillers and spilios. We should take a poll. You like spilios better?
I'm the one that coined spilios.
Oh, that's why you like it better. You're biased.
That's right. I'm biased. It's my white bias.
Okay, is that what it is? I should have known. Only a white man would think of something as silly as
spilios.
Hey, look, Carlisle, you have not had the experience that I have, and Spillers has a more racial historical context to it.
Oh, the spilios. Just like it.
Let's see. Let's get into this email right here.
Why not? Because we're only like an hour and a half in.
I know, it's all right. People love this. You love it. This email says, which one of these upcoming movies do you think will cause the end of the world? And they have two. They said Friedberg Seltzers, the guy who did the guys who did Meet the Spartans.
Yeah. The film's called Goody Two Shoes.
No, they said this movie's called Disaster.
That's because they're full of shit. The movie is called Goody Two Shoes.
And somebody else has said that on the line. I'm just telling you what they said here. They have an upcoming movie no matter what.
Yes.
And then they have Disney's latest crap fest, Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Okay, now the question is which is going to be worse? I don't know. If you haven't seen the trailer for Beverly Hills Chihuahua, you really do owe it to yourself to see it in a theater like we did and just watch the jaw-dropping awfulness. Especially, I can't wait to joke about this film, specifically because the whole concept is that apparently in the Aztec culture, Chihuahuas were raised and bred to be warriors. Now, in truth, Chihuahuas were raised and bred as food. That's why Chihuahuas are unintelligent, nervous, and hairless, because they bred them that way because they were slow, easy to catch, and easy to cook and eat. They're small, fat critters that make good eating. So they made a film out of that. The Seltzer Friedberg, those guys are jagoffs. They started shooting the film in May. It's going into theaters in August. It's gonna be a big stinking piece of shit. We know it. They're not taking any time to make it.
Yeah, that shit came out quick, man.
I mean, they have to make it quick. Their jokes have expiration dates. We saw that with Meet the Spartans. What was our big complaint? The jokes were old a year ago. Well, now the jokes are only going to be 2 months old. So
let me just chime in and say, I hate these two guys as filmmakers, and these are probably the only people that I feel that way about. Because I'm usually fair. I come in and say, well, this was meant for this audience. They know who they're appealing to. These people are out to make a buck. No, these guys, these are only two I have a personal vendetta against. If there was a way to actually make them stop making movies, I would do it. If somebody told me to chop their hands off and they would never make a movie again, I would do it.
Dude, but, I don't know if I want to go that far.
I would go that far.
I just want to put them in a cell with, a big black guy named Tyrone that has a desire for young Jewish man pussy.
Hey,
that's what I really would like to see.
I know that guy. I can set this up.
See, I figured you did. Actually.
Yeah, no, I met him. He's all right. I will say this much: I will always vote against Friedberg and Seltzer because looking at that trailer for Beverly Hills Chihuahua, I laughed a lot more than I ever did at that shitty Meet the Spartans movie.
No, I didn't laugh one bit. I was in shock. But I will say this. I was having coffee with someone the other night that it was just somebody who I see at screenings every once in a while. I was like, oh, by the way, I want to thank you for that incredible review of Meet the Spartans. And I said, oh, well, thanks. Why? I was like, well, look, I had a friend who was working on that, and she would call me every day, and she'd be like, oh, my God, my career is over. This is the worst movie ever. Everyone on the set apparently knew how awful this movie was, but they were like, okay, it's paying our bills. You know what? I can keep my apartment because I'm working on this film. But everyone knew what a big stinking piece of turd it was every day they went into work. And I just could not imagine what it would be like to, do that. It's just, oh my God. So it was just kind of interesting. This movie is, dude, it's going to be awful. It's just it's a parody of Superbad.
Yeah.
And it's a parody of teen films.
No,
and it's like, wait, we didn't already get that with the actually funny, not another teen movie?
Yeah. No, man, these two guys, look, if you're working behind the camera and you need to be doing some production shit as a job, nobody gives a fuck about your name. Do what you got to do. But these two assholes here, as long as you're not them, That's all I care about, because I have a feeling if I see these guys on the street, I'm gonna choke the shit out.
Now
them motherfuckers,
I
man.
can say that it's really funny that this isn't a Fox film like their last three.
Fox
dropped
probably
them.
said, "Fuck this." That's
And,
why.
yeah, no, they said fuck this, and now Lionsgate is distributing this
Well,
horseshit.
fine, let them. I don't even want to talk to these guys. I hate these guys.
All right, let's move on to the next
hate 'em.
email. The next email is
It says, "Hey, I am new to the site, and I was wondering, what do you think about the choice of Guillermo del Toro directing The Hobbit in a different direction from Lord of the Rings?" And they say, "I'm sorry for my English. I'm from Costa Rica. Thanks, and keep up the good work with the site. It's great." Look, it's hard to tell. I don't want to be one of those guys that starts spewing off what I predict about this movie. All I would say is that I'm looking forward to it, and I think that both these guys, Peter Jackson and Peter Jackson and Guillermo del Toro, they're two different visionaries, but visionaries nonetheless. And I think if it was going to be in anybody's capable hands, it would be Guillermo del Toro. And I'm looking to see what he can do different with this than something like Peter Jackson will do. Because really, if you read the Lord of the Rings trilogy and if you read The Hobbit, they're two different types of stories anyway. So that's what I think.
dude, it's gonna fucking rock.
Yeah, I think it's going to be
fucking
cool.
Del Toro with great material.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about that if I were you.
Next.
I'm not going to read this whole thing, but it's somebody who says that they think that we talked about kids in the movies, and this is a person who thinks that old people are worse than kids in movies, and they want to know, what do you do when you have a disruptive old person in front of you or in back of you at the movie theater? And I'm going to sit up there and say, ain't shit you can really do about it because they're old and they don't give a fuck.
Well, it depends on what color they are. Because if they're old white people, you can go, holy crap, there are niggers back here, and they will hit the deck.
Okay, and see, I
did that just to see the look on your face.
that came out of nowhere. No, I'm just saying that's
Old people are
uncomfortable
easy to give heart
feeling
attacks.
here. What's
Old
that?
people are easy to give heart attacks to. And they're also surprisingly racist.
Well, old people, they just don't give a shit, man. They feel like first of all, with kids, you can take them out. Parents are the ones to blame for them. Parents should be the ones to take their kids out. With old people, unless they're nurses there or something, there ain't shit you can really do about them. They don't give a fuck. Their mind is bad. Ain't shit you can really do about it except say, be quiet, and all they're going to do is yell back at you and keep doing what they're doing.
We here at Spill don't believe in racism. However, ageism is entirely appropriate.
I'm not even saying ageism, because I'm just saying, I'm not saying you should take them out because they're old. I'm saying that there ain't really shit you can do about it.
Yeah, the only old people problem I've ever experienced, which is rare, is the old woman kind of talking and narrating to her old friend.
Yeah. And old people will sit up there and they will repeat. Actually, I can't even blame it on old people, man, because old people kind of have those habits that younger people have, and they're just old and carried it with them.
I make a point of never going to the movie, before old bedtimes. I'm that guy who, because I don't want to deal with old people and I don't want to deal with kids, I go to the 10 o'clock showing of movies. I love the summer because there's these incredibly late 10 o'clock and 12 o'clock showings of movies that I can go into, and there ain't nothing but people our age there.
Yeah, no. See, what old people do, I know what you're talking about, because they will repeat the funniest shit in the movie that you've already heard. Somebody will say something like, I'm just going to make up a line here. Yeah, man, but it's a dry heat. And you hear them, dry heat. But I've heard younger people do that shit too. If you really,
Like, it's Britney Spears and she's shaving her head next to the Spartans.
Yeah,
That's funny.
exactly. Hey, look, if you really want to make old people be quiet, turn around and say, boo! And hope they have a heart attack and fall over
Dude,
and
there's
die.
so many ways to give old people heart attacks. It's not even funny. Actually, it kind of is funny.
Just hope you don't get that really old person who shits on himself and don't want to do anything about it until they get up from the movie.
That reminds me of actually a funny story I read in the news this week. Which is,
What, some old person shit on themselves and didn't want to get up from the movie?
It's a program in Germany, and this old folks' home that deals with Alzheimer's set up a fake bus stop out in front of the home because apparently, every so often a person with Alzheimer's will, stagger out and try to make their way home, and they'll take a cab to go to homes that don't exist anymore. So what they did is they set up a fake bus stop where no bus ever stops because they'll see the bus stop, they'll walk out to the bus stop and sit down. No, it's genius because then eventually one of the staff will notice them and walk out and go, oh, hey, the bus isn't coming. Why don't you come back inside and have a cup of coffee and wait for the next bus? And then they come back inside and have totally forgotten that they wanted to leave again and go back to their room. It's just,
I guess that makes sense.
It's just a piece of brilliance. It's been so positive that the response has been so good, and it worked so well that they're spreading it throughout Germany. We'll probably eventually start seeing it here soon.
Hey, I guess they don't realize they're having a prank pulled on them. They don't give a fuck. They don't remember.
And it's not really a prank. It's it's just
as long as they're not hurt, that's fine.
Yeah, no, that's the point. Is so they don't wander off and get lost. They're right there. They go and they sit down at the bus stop. And
as long as no old people were hurt in the making of that show, then I'm fine with.
Oh no, it's not even a show. It's the real deal.
I tell you what I've seen though that makes me laugh about old people in movies. I've been to about 5-6 movies where you can tell some old person didn't know what they were seeing. They just saw something in the paper, I saw it on TV, and said, I want to have a night out with my old spouse here. We're going to go see a movie. Last movie I really remember somebody getting offended in was The 40-Year-Old Virgin. And this old couple, you saw them walking out like, fuck this, how dare they? And I was like, what the fuck were y'all doing in here in the first place?
It was called The 40-Year-Old Virgin. It had the word virgin in it. You weren't even allowed to say that when you were kids.
Mm-hmm. So I guess they saw the word virgin and thought, this is good family clean entertainment. Let's go. I think they almost had a heart attack watching this shit. But anyway, that's our show for tonight.
No, it's not.
Why?
That wasn't a show. I refuse to believe that was a show.
What was that?
That was just us sitting in front of microphones for an hour and a half.
Isn't that what it is every week?
Yeah,
well. and how is that different from any other week? Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, you got anything you want to part with?
Good night, everybody.
Are you okay?
I got nothing, man.
You got nothing.
I'm tapped out.
I'm just making sure you're all right. You gonna get home okay?
I've had 3 beers, dude.
Okay. I don't have to go anywhere.
I'll make an N-word joke just to see your response, but
I would
just fine.
I wouldn't worry about my response. It's the response of those people out there.
Oh,
those people.
Why do they have to be those people?
You people.
Ross Perot all of a sudden? Our audience doesn't even remember Ross Perot. That's the sad part.
I don't even remember Ross Perot that well. I don't think anybody really remembers Ross Perot that well.
I remember Ross Perot.
All right, y'all. We're going to say good night.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, I always have trouble finding the button. I think I'm old.
It's a
Where
simple
is it?
button.
Where is that button?
Push the button, monkey.
Jesus Christ, where is it? Okay, there it is. Good night, y'all. For real this time. Good night. Good night. Good evening. Good night.